Molly's hallway of memories. Molly had always loved the old house on the hill. It was her grandmother's house, a cozy place filled with trinkets, paintings, and the faint smell of lavender that clung to the walls. Every summer, Molly would spend a week there, exploring every nook and cranny with a fresh sense of wonder. But today was different. As Molly walked down the hallway, something strange happened. The pictures on the walls, usually bright and cheerful, had changed. They no longer showed the usual family photos and colorful landscapes, but instead scenes from Molly's own life, memories she had all but forgotten. She stopped in front of one image. It was a painting of herself as a little girl, her red hair tied in a lopsided bow, holding a small kitten she had rescued. Molly smiled, remembering how she had named it Mittens and convinced her parents to let her keep it. A few steps further, another picture caught her eye. This one showed her on her first day of school, clutching her backpack and wearing that bright green sweater she loved. She could almost hear her grandmother's voice in her head, telling her to be brave, to make friends, and to always be kind. As she continued down the hallway, each picture seemed to glow slightly, pulling her deeper into her own story. With each step, memories she hadn't thought of in years resurfaced. The good, the bad, the funny, and the bittersweet. It was like walking through a timeline of her life. Near the end of the hall, one last image awaited her. It was a painting of Molly standing right where she was, looking at the pictures with a soft smile on her face. In the painting, her grandmother stood beside her, hand on her shoulder, whispering something she couldn't quite hear. Suddenly, Molly felt a warmth at her shoulder, as if her grandmother was really there. She looked around, but she was alone in the hallway. The only sound her soft footsteps on the wooden floor. The house felt fuller somehow, as if the memories themselves were alive, wrapping her in a sense of peace and comfort. With a deep breath, Molly turned and continued down the hallway, the memories safely tucked away, knowing that she would always have this place and these moments to come back to. It wasn't just a hallway, it was a piece of her heart, filled with the love and warmth of her grandmother's legacy. As Molly moved further down the hallway, a curious glow began to emanate from each picture frame. She reached out and lightly touched one of the paintings, a memory of her 7th birthday, where she and her friends were covered in cake frosting from an overly enthusiastic food fight. The moment her fingers brushed the frame, she felt a soft pull, and suddenly she was no longer in the hallway. She was in her grandmother's garden on that very day, surrounded by her 7-year-old self and her giggling friends, cakes smeared on their faces and clothes. It was as if she had stepped right back into the memory, unseen but fully present. She could hear the laughter, smell the sweet frosting, and feel the warmth of the summer sun on her skin. The scene was so vivid it felt like more than a memory. It felt real. With a blink, she found herself back in the hallway, a trace of frosting still on her fingertips. She stared in amazement at the painting, which glowed even brighter now, as if it were alive. Molly couldn't help but laugh. Is this some kind of magic? She wondered. Curiosity growing, she moved to the next frame, a picture of her first day learning to ride a bike. This time, as she touched the painting, the pull was even stronger. Before she knew it, she was standing on a street in front of her grandmother's house, watching herself struggle to keep balance on 2 wheels. Her younger self wobbled, looking determined and stubborn, her face scrunched up with concentration. "Come on, Molly, you can do it," she heard her grandmother call, clapping her hands from the sidewalk. Her younger self took a deep breath, pushed off, and after a few wobbles, found her balance. Molly watched as the younger her lit up with joy, laughing as she pedaled down the street for the first time. Just as quickly as she had been pulled in, Molly was back in the hallway, her heart racing. This hallway wasn't just a collection of memories, it was a portal to her past. Each picture was alive, each memory waiting for her to relive it, to step into the moments that had shaped her. The secret room intrigued and a bit nervous, Molly continued down the hallway, moving from one frame to another. She saw her first dance recital, the day she'd won her school science fair, a rainy afternoon she'd spent building blanket forts with her grandmother. Each memory was a treasure, and each time she touched the frames, she felt as though a piece of her was healing,